Captain Marcus Chen had seen war across 17 star systems. He'd witnessed the fall of colonies, the burning of worlds, and the desperate last stands of civilizations that history would never remember. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for this moment. The refugee camp on Kepler 442b stretched for miles, a sprawling testament to humanity's latest rescue operation. The Galactic Council had deemed the Zetherian refugees low priority, citing resource constraints and political complications. Humanity had responded the way it always did when bureaucracy failed the innocent. They'd loaded every available transport and gone anyway. Marcus walked through the medical tent, his boots squelching in the mud that seemed to coat everything on this rain-soaked planet. Around him, medics, both human and the few alien volunteers who joined them, worked tirelessly to treat malnutrition, disease, and injuries that told stories no one wanted to hear. That's when he saw her. She couldn't have been more than 7 cycles old, by Zytherian standards, roughly equivalent to a human 5-year-old. Her skin was a pale lavender, and her large amber eyes tracked his movement with the kind of wariness that children should never possess. She sat on a crate near the tent's edge, small and alone, her thin arms wrapped around her knees. Marcus had 3 daughters back on Earth. The instinct was automatic. He knelt down a few feet away, making himself smaller, less threatening. "Hey there," he said softly, activating his translator implant. "I'm Marcus. What's your name?" The girl studied him with those 2 old eyes. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "Lyra." "That's a beautiful name, Lyra." Marcus smiled, the expression feeling foreign on his face after weeks of coordinating evacuations. "Are you hungry? We have some really good fruit bars from Earth. My daughters love them." For the first time, something flickered in Lyra's eyes. Not quite hope, but maybe the memory of it. She nodded slightly. Marcus reached into his pack slowly, producing one of the compressed nutrition bars his youngest daughter had insisted he take. "These are made with real strawberries. Have you ever had strawberries?" Lyra shook her head, but she reached out tentatively. Her sleeve rode up, and Marcus caught a glimpse of scar tissue before she quickly pulled her arm back. His heart clenched, but he kept his expression neutral. He'd learned in the first days of the refugee crisis that these people had been through hell. The Krill invasion of the Zetherian colonies hadn't just been conquest, it had been systematic brutality designed to break spirits before breaking bodies. "You know what?" Marcus said, sitting cross-legged in the mud. "When I'm scared or sad, eating something sweet helps. Maybe it'll help you too." Lyra unwrapped the bar with careful, precise movements as if she'd been taught to waste nothing. She took a small bite, and for just a second her expression transformed. Wonder. Pure, childlike wonder. "It's good," she whispered. "Yeah?" Marcus grinned. "My daughter Emma, she's about your age, she says they taste like sunshine." "What's sunshine like?" Lyra asked, and the question hit Marcus like a physical blow. These refugees had spent the last 2 years in underground bunkers and prison camps. Some of the children had never seen a sun. "It's warm," Marcus said quietly, "and bright. It makes you feel safe and happy. Where we're taking you, there's lots of sunshine. You'll love it." Lyra was quiet for a moment, nibbling on the nutrition bar. Then, with the innocent directness that only children possess, she said, "The Krill said humans were weak. That we shouldn't want your help because you couldn't even protect yourselves." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. The Krill, those arthropoid conquerors who'd carved out an empire through fear and slavery, had spread plenty of propaganda about humanity. They'd pointed to Earth's bloody history, its wars and divisions, as proof of human weakness. What they hadn't understood was that humans knew cruelty intimately, which was precisely why they fought so hard against it. "Can I tell you a secret, Lyra?" Marcus leaned in conspiratorially. "The Krill are right that we've hurt each other. Humans have done terrible things in our past. But you know what we learned? We learned what pain feels like, what suffering feels like, and we decided we never wanted anyone else to feel that way if we could stop it." Lyra looked at him, processing. Then, with childlike logic, she said, "I want to show you something, to prove I'm brave like humans." Before Marcus could respond, she stood and lifted her shirt. Time seemed to stop. Her small torso was a roadmap of suffering. Scars crisscrossed her lavender skin in systematic patterns, not the random marks of accident or battle. but deliberate, precise. Each one told a story of calculated cruelty, of a child being used as something less than a person. Marcus had seen combat wounds. He'd seen plasma burns and shrapnel scars. But this was different. This was evil distilled to its purest form. His vision blurred. Captain Marcus Chen, decorated officer with commendations from a dozen worlds, felt tears spill down his face. Lyra, he managed, his voice breaking. Oh, sweetheart. You don't have to prove anything, not to me, not to anyone. The girl lowered her shirt, confusion crossing her features. But, you're crying. Did I do something wrong? No. Marcus shook his head vehemently, not bothering to wipe his tears. No, you did nothing wrong. You've never done anything wrong. He gestured helplessly. This should never have happened to you. The Krill said we had to be strong, Lyra said matter-of-factly. That weak things don't deserve to live. They tested us to make us strong. They lied. Marcus's voice was steel wrapped in silk. He held out his hand, and after a moment, Lyra took it. Her small lavender fingers disappeared in his larger brown ones. Being strong doesn't mean not feeling pain. It means choosing kindness even when you've been hurt. And you're the strongest person I've met. Stronger than a human? Lyra asked, and there was a tiny hint of pride in her voice. Stronger than any human I know, Marcus confirmed. He stood, still holding her hand. Come on, let's get you checked by the doctors, and then I want you to meet someone. Her name is Dr. Sarah Kim, and she's the one who told us about the Zitherian refugees when the council wanted to ignore you. She fought for your people before we even knew you needed help. Why? Lyra asked. The eternal question of innocence. Because that's what humans do, Marcus said simply. We see someone hurting and we can't look away. Our own history taught us the hard way that silence makes us complicit. We learned that lesson in blood and tears, and we swore never again. Not to anyone. Not if we can help it. As they walked toward the medical bay, Marcus felt Lyra's grip tighten slightly. Not from fear, but from trust, that most precious and fragile gift. Behind them, the refugee camp buzzed with activity. Human medics worked alongside Zitherian survivors, teaching and learning, healing and being healed. Above, in orbit, 17 human carriers waited to take these people to new homes, to planets where they could see sunshine and know peace. The Galactic Council had called it a waste of resources. They'd said humans were too emotional, too reckless, too willing to bleed for others. Marcus looked down at the small girl whose hand he held, whose scars he would never forget, whose future he would fight to protect. Maybe the council was right. Maybe humans were reckless and emotional. But as Lyra looked up at him with eyes that were finally beginning to hope again, Marcus Chen knew with absolute certainty humanity wouldn't have it any other way, because humans had learned the hard way what it meant to suffer. And they'd be damned if they'd let anyone suffer alone while they drew breath. That was the promise. That was the covenant. That was humanity, fuck yeah.